Hi, and welcome to the Virtually Yours podcast, Outsourcing Mysteries Exposed, the no BS hustle-free podcast for business owners who outsource or provide outsourcing services. I'm your host, Rosie Shiloh, virtual assistant advocate and owner of Virtually Yours, the virtual assistant network. Let's get started. Welcome to today's podcast, the Virtually Yours podcast, Outsourcing Mysteries Exposed. And today I actually want to talk to new VAs, like really new, fresh off the boat new VAs, and talk to you about just a few things that you need to do just to get you started. This is often the spot where people kind of think, oh my God, I'm stuck. What am I actually needing to do to get started? So I want to run through a few things today. Okay, so to start your business, you've probably had the whole, you should be a VA thing. This is the answer for you. Now, hopefully you've had a look online to see exactly what a virtual assistant is. If you haven't, that is your first thing you need to do. Look at what a virtual assistant is. Now, the term virtual assistant is extremely broad. So, you think in terms of if someone said to you, oh, you should be a tradesman. Now, you want them to be a bit more specific than that and look at, what part of that industry do I want to be a part of? Now, virtual assistants is the same. So, generally speaking, if someone says that they are a general VA, it would usually be interpreted that they are doing your basic administrative type work for businesses. Now, they don't need to really say that they are a generalist VA. They need to be saying that they are an administration specialist because that is their area that they are strong in. Administration for business services is an area that is so vital in so many business owners' lives, and one of the things that really holds them back. But over the years, we've kind of looked at administration and thought, oh, well, that's a, low-end job and anyone can do it. But I think when people go out themselves and start running their own businesses, they realize that administration is often where they fall apart. So it is an area where you can really promote the fact that you are all over administration. If you've done administration as an employee in the past, that is absolutely wonderful. That's great. That's what you need to have as your experience. But just be aware that coming into running your own business and doing administration for other business owners, there is still going to be a massive, massive learning curve for you, because you do need to suddenly run your own business and be looking at their business as more than just what you would do as an employee. I'll sort of look at that a little bit further as we discuss. So looking at what a VA is, you might be deciding that you want to be a website developer or website maintenance type person. You might want to be doing email newsletters, graphic design, copywriting, bookkeeping, social media management. There are so many things. So there's a list on the Virtually Yours website if you're wanting to have a look at it, and that has got hundreds of different things that virtual assistants do. So it's pretty big. So please make sure the first thing you do is you look at what a VA is and have a think about where you would slot in without having to worry about niching down too much just yet. The second thing you need to consider is whether or not you can survive without an income for a while or without a steady income for possibly a long while. So setting up a virtual assistant business is not a get-rich-quick scheme. There is no guarantee of income. There is definitely guarantee of outgoings because you do need to invest in your business. So don't think of it as a Band-Aid solution or a get-rich-quick solution if you're in financial difficulties. Okay, if you're in financial difficulties, I would recommend temping or trying to get a regular job over setting up a virtual assistant business, because it is not easy. It is not easy. Excuse me. The next thing you need to decide is whether or not you have the desire to keep building on your skills as an ongoing venture. Market your services. You cannot run your business from behind your screen. You need to be getting out and networking. You need to be letting people know how you can support them. So if the thought of that terrifies you to the point of, sitting in the corner rocking back and forth, might not be the solution for you. So you will need to market your services. This is a definite. You need to decide if you can support a variety of clients, and they're all going to have different needs. And can you help them with that? And understand that if you need to take sick leave or you need to take annual leave, you actually need to put contingencies in place to make sure your clients are still supported. So you don't just call in and go, hey, sick today. You don't even want to do that with, if you've got multiple clients, you can't be making multiple calls. How's it going to work if you're not feeling well? That's something you need to be considering as well. The next step, we've got a few here, is know that you do need to invest. And I touched on this just a moment ago. You do need to invest in your business for it to grow. You will need to look at your software, your hardware, your connections, so subscriptions to technology. You will be very, very wise to undertake some sort of training or mentoring. Now, the Virtually Yours, there's a VA course that is free, and that is the next thing, that I would suggest you have a look at. So if you go to virtuallyyours.com.au and under training, there is a link to a free course. It's about 8 hours worth of content, and that sits on Skillshare. So that's a training program separate to our website. So they host that for us, and you can run through that and learn loads and loads and loads, all of the next steps after what I'm talking about now. So, but that might be free, but you still need to have your internet. You still need to have a way of watching it and listening to it. So there's always definitely going to be expenses when you're starting your business, and they will not stop. You will constantly need to invest. So your networking and your marketing, that's all going to cost money. So if you're happy with that, if you think, no, Rosie, I'm good with that, I'm willing to go ahead, the first thing you need to do now is you need to go and get an ABN if you're in Australia, or similar, whatever the same kind of thing. It's your business number. For us in Australia, this is, for reporting to the Australian Taxation Office. So your business number. I recommend you also register a business name. If you're not sure what your business name is, you can hold off for a bit and register and just trade under your own name. But once you've got a bit of an idea of what you want to do, I think it's a really, really good idea to register a business name, and you would register that under your ABN. So the first thing you need to do is get that ABN. It is very affordable. I can't remember what the price is, probably $70 or something like that. And it is very, very important that you get that. You cannot trade without it. You also need, this is super, super important, you need an accountant. I know I resisted the idea of getting an accountant. They sound like the most expensive thing under the sun under lawyers, but an accountant will make sure that you set yourself up right from the start. And you need an accountant who understands the nature of the services you're offering. That's a lot easier today than it was when I started up my business, and virtual assistants was quite a new concept. Most accountants now should have a pretty good solid idea of how a virtual assistant should be set up. So you might be setting yourself up as a sole trader, or you might start off as setting yourself up as a company, trading under a trust. Now, your accountant will be able to support you with that and make sure that, any sort of assets you have behind you are protected. You would be looking at the VA course that I touched on just before. So when you've done that, you've got your ABN, you've got your accountant, you've decided that you understand what VAs are and that you are going to cope with the financial insecurity around that to start with, and that you're willing to market your services and keep learning, go and check out the course I mentioned just before. And that's going to actually run through what skills you have, what you bring to the business, what your gaps are, who your ideal clients could be, the administrative side of setting up your business. And it also runs through what clients want from a VA. So we've actually interviewed people and said, what is it that you want from a VA, so that you can get a little bit of an insight and start delivering on that. So that is what I would recommend you do to start your virtual assistant business. Once you know what sort of services you want to offer and where your client is, then you can start your marketing and building your tools up. But that is the next step. So have fun. Let me know if you've got any questions, and have a brilliant day. Thanks for listening to this episode of Outsourcing Mysteries Exposed, the Virtually Yours podcast. Have a great one. Hey, thank you for listening to the Virtually Yours podcast, Outsourcing Mysteries Exposed. Between now and our next session, I know you're going to be hanging out to take some action on outsourcing in your business. So head on over to virtuallyyours.com.au and you can download some information there about the best ways to outsource for business growth. If you're a virtual assistant, make sure you join us. We have an amazing virtual assistant community at Virtually Yours, Aussie VAs connecting and helping each other grow. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you at the next podcast.